Hello and welcome to Planet Outlook. We all know the importance of water in our lives, and this is a special episode where we take a deep dive into water conservation issue. Joining me in this special broadcast is Anu Garg, Principal Secretary, Department of Water Resources, Government of Odisha. Thank you, Anu, for joining us on this special broadcast.
My pleasure.
If I begin with by saying that if there is one state in India which faces the brunt of extreme weather, it is Odisha. For years and years, Odisha has felt the brunt of cyclones, floods, as well as drought. So where do you see as a department addressing this crisis of water, of potable water or drinking water to the entire citizens of Odisha who keep on facing this crisis year after year?
True. So, good to be here, Anand. You are very right. In fact, Odisha really bears a disproportionate burden of, these weather vagaries. And in a year, we see floods, we see cyclones, in fact, even in some areas, even a little bit of drought. And and I must say that we keep coming back, and but you're right, there are a lot of issues that. So I will say, let me begin like this, that uh, the floods, for example, when I joined in this department last year, it was baptism by fire, because the first thing I encountered was flood, not just in one basin, but in 5 basins simultaneously. So we have, apart from Mahanadi, we have big rivers like Baitarani, Brahmani, Subarnarekha, and everywhere simultaneously we were having floods. So that this is all happening because suddenly the rainy days have squeezed. So it's not as if the rains are coming, they are now focused in very few days, and so these vagaries are making life very difficult. But the first thing that we have to do as a department is managing it, right? So the first thing we do is we are all the time prepared. So Odisha's disaster preparedness, you must have heard, we take very, very meticulously, and it is at all times we are all prepared. Separate departments, of course, the Disaster Management Authority. And so what we do is that from water resources side, we patrol all our canal embankments. We look for pipings because sometimes, there are little scourings. We store material in case there is a breach. All our people are there. We have flood forecasting mechanisms, which constantly we are doing. And as soon as when the floods arrive, then immediately, and also we do mock drills to check the dam gates, etc. Whether it's so, all that is a drill which takes place every time. And then when the floods come, and then post floods, immediately repairing, restoration of the breaches and these things. But over time, we are trying to make things more and more climate resilient. And so, for example, even this time when Cyclone Yas, it came to the northern part of Orissa in Balasore and that area, and the tidal surge was so much that it topped the embankment, the coastal embankment, scarred it, and so now we are working on climate resilient infrastructure in terms of strengthening these coastal embankments, the saline embankments, to prevent saline ingress when sea water comes in. Like that, we have over the years been working on some of the vulnerable parts of our coastal embankments, and use geosynthetics and new techniques so as to be able to withstand such kind of surges, which are becoming more and more and more frequent. Apart from that, water conservation is a huge thrust. So even though Orissa does get 1400 of rainfall on an average, as I was mentioning, since it is so squeezed, we have to ensure that water is conserved at all levels. So we have a scheme which is called the in-stream storage structures. over huge rivers, we are now constructing these barrages where the purpose is only to conserve the water and not allow it to flow into the Bay of Bengal. Number two is that we have on the relatively smaller streams, we have 15,000 check dams which have been constructed over a period of time. And all these check dams are also being used mainly for water conservation, but also incidental irrigation and domestic use, etc. Apart from that, and this is something unique that we are doing, is that we have a project called OPICRA, which is an integrated project for climate resilient agriculture. So this is something which we are doing in conjunction with the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Fisheries. What we are doing is that we have taken the minor irrigation tanks, and in each of these, so it's in across 50% of Odisha's districts. And what we are doing here is that we have divided the tanks into red tanks and green tanks. So it's a cascade approach. So tanks where the one tank's discharge is affecting the other tanks are red tanks, where so we are trying to see that it is all integrated, and near these tanks, we are going to repair these tanks. We are going to use only 1 hectare chucks. We will have conjunctive use. And the agriculture department is trying to take up chickpea and these type of crops, non-paddy crops, better management techniques, better agricultural techniques. So it's an integrated project that we are doing, which we are hoping will be helpful in climate resilience. Apart from that, another new thing that we are doing with Green Climate Fund is that we are taking up 10,000 big and small tanks. And in these tanks, in each of these 10,000 tanks, we will, over a period of time, be setting up water recharge structures. The soil at the bottom, that silt which deposits at the bottom, we will puncture it so that the water will go into the local aquifer. The local the groundwater table will hopefully improve, and then we will use it for micro irrigation and use solar pumps. So the idea is to make it totally green, and this is another thing that we are using.
But let me ask you at this point. So, are you turning the adversity into an opportunity with rainwater harvesting in this tanks?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are trying to use whatever rainfall is coming. We are trying to ensure that we are able to stop it in some way or the other. And it's not just water resources department. As a team, you know, across departments, so even urban development department did 10,000 water harvesting structures, big and small. They are doing rooftop rainwater harvesting. Likewise, forest department in various areas is doing that trenching and all that thing. So across departments we are doing, and the good news is that vis-a-vis in 2017, we had a report of the Central Groundwater Board. And again, in 21, they are coming up with a report. It shows that our groundwater, while the extraction has increased, which it should in a developing economy, but at the same time, the recharge has also improved. And so our water level is the same. And also, we don't have any critical block as in water stressed block in the state in terms of groundwater extraction. So these are some of the measures that we are taking.
What about extending this same idea to a citizen-centric? We talked about citizen-centric approach. So is there also a program or a structure where citizens can also participate in rainwater harvesting?
Yeah. So, Ananda, we in Odisha, and I think a lot of other states also, water user associations, I mean, we here call them Pani Panchayats, and we have a very robust Pani Panchayat system. So more than 34,000 Pani Panchayats are there. And these are local people who are users of the water, of, let's say, a canal or of a lift irrigation point. And they then manage the water. We give them training, we give them information, and we give them funds to do minor repairs. But it is for them to use it and to resolve various issues amicably. So that is one way in which we kind of ensure citizens' participation. Other ways are that in our state, we have something called, the mantra is 5T mantra. The 5 T's are using technology, teamwork, minimizing time, and transparency, bringing in transparency to overall bring transformation. So these are the 5 T's. And every department is working on that. Our department, because by making everything IT enabled, we are trying to reach out to make it much more transparent and efficient, and also, all those things of corruption and all that, by reducing the interface. So what we are doing, for example, is that we have online payment to workers. We have for all the contractors, their bills are only processed through a software called WAMIS, where they give their bills. Everything is online and it is being managed. All our procurements are e-procurements. Then all the water allocation to industries is applied online and given to them online. All commercial establishments, like, let's say, hotels, hospitals, whoever needs water, again, we have a portal on which they apply. And so this brings in a lot more efficiency and lot of what I could call an ease of transaction. So these are some things that have been done. Apart from that, what we do in our state is something called Mo Sarkar. That means my government. And in that, senior officers and minister, we ring up 10 people every day, 10 beneficiaries. So what the system is, that anybody who visits any of my field offices, their numbers are taken at the desk. And those numbers are sent to a common portal, from which randomly 10 numbers every day come to me, to my 2 technical engineers in chief, and to the minister. And we are supposed to talk, and we talk to 10 people, 10 beneficiaries of various schemes every day, to find out any bribe आपसे तो किसी ने नहीं लिया, कि आपका what was the treatment given to you, were you offered a chair to sit, were people rough to you, those type of things. And then wherever necessary, we take remedial action. So that is something again which is citizen friendly. And then apart from that, we try to, there is something called Secha Samadhan, which means Samadhan of all irrigation related issues, which is an app which is with the farmers, where if they find that something, let's say a lift irrigation point is not working, or a canal there has developed a breach or something, they can take a picture and send it to us, and we are then we respond to that. So that is something which we have just developed, and it is working. We are working on that. And then, of course, trying to reach the tail end. So for that, what we are doing is 1 hectare chuck. Now, this is a new concept, where earlier the chucks used to be very large and there was field to field flow. Now what we are doing is we have made it going deeper inside and ensuring that for every 1 hectare, there is an outlet point. So which means that we are able to reach the tail end, and the people don't need to bother that somebody will try to stop their water. So these are some things which we are doing to ensure that we are reaching out to the citizens as much as we can. And also inclusive irrigation, I call it inclusive irrigation, where what we are trying to do is that geographically remote areas, which were hitherto perhaps not connected, we are trying to ensure that those places are also covered. So for example, in Malkangiri, there is a Swabhiman Anchal. So that scheme we have utilized, and we are trying to develop more number of deep bore wells. Or in the mineral area fund, we have a district mineral fund. We are leveraging that, and in that area we are trying to develop water resources using those funds. Trying to get more women. For SC, ST, we have something where they have to pay less compared to the others. So they are the offtake for them is much more. So some of the things to reach out to more and more people is something we are trying.
So I want to ask something else. So this year also has been fairly good monsoon. So July, August, we are at the end of August. So how have you managed, or what has been new this year, or if you want to talk something on the priorities which the department have taken in this as we speak in the current season?
Yeah. Anand, the main thing for us is that you see as an irrigation department, water resources, see, my main priority always is to ensure to basically plan and develop and manage water resources so as to ensure water for all. Our priority is always drinking water. So in our water policy, it's there drinking water, then ecology, and then irrigation, then power, and then industry. So it is in that way. And so we have to ensure that we have a separate department for drinking water. They manage, but it is for us to ensure that it in a sustainable manner we are able to provide it across river basins of the state. But from an irrigation point of view, we have my main thrust is to increase the irrigation potential further. So you will be happy to know that this year itself, we completed in Kalahandi district, the Upper Indravati lift canal, there was a system whereby what we have done is that we have lifted water to a higher level and then using gravity, we have used that water. So this is going to irrigate 23,000 hectares in a district like Kalahandi. Then in another two districts, Nuapada and Bolangir, which I don't know if you're aware, are some of the most drought-prone districts of the state. We, in March this year, launched the major irrigation project called Lower Indra, where so our aim is to complete all the incomplete projects, major and medium, big projects, which are by nature long gestation, but we are very vigorously now pursuing the forest clearances, the land acquisition, the rehabilitation issues at the highest level of chief minister. This is being followed up, and all collectors have been asked to really take it up in a very serious manner, so that in a time-bound manner, we are hoping in two more projects, I am hoping to complete this year, the big projects. Apart from the mega lift, which we are doing for the upland areas, the minor irrigation projects, and the lift irrigation and the deep bore well, which are really coming up in a big way. So that is another very big priority for the department. And I would say another priority is increasing water use efficiency. So for all the water that I'm giving, I would like that it should be used in the most efficient manner, for which what we are doing is underground pipeline. Now, this is something our state has really adopted in a big way. So the advantages are that the losses due to transmission and the loss due to evaporation are much lesser in an underground pipeline. But more importantly, it does not have the baggage of getting land acquisition. So without troubling people or taking land from anybody, we are just putting these pipelines under the ground. And so this is something which we have adopted, underground pipeline system. And so it increases efficiency also. Apart from canal lining with concrete, in one place, in fact, we use geosynthetics because we wanted to do it faster. So there is a Taldanda Canal. It's a historical canal from British days in the Millennium City of Cuttack. And not only has it improved the efficiency, but it has also improved the aesthetics of the city of Cuttack, because it is totally lined, and in fact, they are planning to do a little bit of boating and all that also. So increasing the water use efficiency for us is also very, very critical. And I mentioned that 1 hectare charg and command area, developing little field channels, reaching the tail end. So those are some of the other things that are a priority for us.
I'll come to my last question is, apart from these projects, it's great to hear about making Odisha water resilience. But apart from this, what's the bigger holistic vision for maybe the 10 or next 20 years? Because there is also a worry that all these engineering projects also disturb a lot of biodiversity. But we have to kind of design our systems with nature kind of thing. So is there a holistic vision from you or the department to carry forward this work in a sustainable way, basically?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, as I mentioned to you, we are taking up solar pumping. So if all the groundwater harnessing that we are doing for our deep bore wells, we are trying to use the pump using solar panels. That is one intervention that we are doing. Apart from that, wherever the shafts, supposing, don't work, we are trying to use that as using it to generate water, like a water recharge unit. And as I mentioned, these water recharge units, trying to have these in-stream storages. So the idea is to conserve as much water as we can and use as many friendly techniques like solar and in a manner that we can, make it a little more climate resilient. And also, yes, even non-paddy. So this is something which we are doing, is that wherever we can, we are trying to do give incentives for non-paddy. This is from Agriculture Department. And even in our contracts with our EPC contractors, we have a specific clause that you have to encourage the people to use non-paddy so that the water we are using, that same water can irrigate a lot more.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, Ms. Garg. Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure talking to you on water.
Thank you so much. The pleasure was all mine. Thank you, Anand.